This is Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Good evening, I am Samia Mohammed and this is Pulse of Africa Evening News. Stay with us for insightful coverage on the stories shaping our region and beyond. President Tebboune reaffirms Algeria's unwavering support for comprehensive African development. In a speech delivered on his behalf by the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Azouz Nasri, at the opening ceremony of the Third Luanda Summit on Financing Infrastructure Development in Africa on Monday, the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, emphasized the need to ensure the proper and effective implementation of priority projects across the continent. He advocated for sharing tactical and financial expertise among African nations and called for establishing a coordination mechanism involving African countries, the African Union, and financial institutions. To achieve this goal, President Tebboune stressed the importance of removing technical, procedural, and financial barriers that impede major projects, adopting flexible approaches tailored to regional specificities, strengthening public-private partnership, prioritizing the mobilization of African resources before seeking external financing, and promoting innovative solutions such as joint African sovereign funds. He further underscored the necessity of prioritizing projects with genuine continental impact and capable of creating jobs, interconnecting economies, and bolstering food, energy, and digital security throughout Africa. Highlighting Algeria's efforts, President Tebboune noted that the country is advancing some 50 major infrastructure projects under an ambitious national strategy to develop the economy and enhance competitiveness. Highlighting the role of digital transformation, Algeria is bolstering its technological infrastructure to emerge as a leading regional hub for telecommunications and the digital economy, thereby integrating into regional and global value chains. President Tebboune assured that achieving development goals demands a robust collective will to turn rhetoric into action and aspiration into tangible outcomes. Reaffirming Algeria's commitment, he emphasized that building the future requires the active involvement of true change makers, especially youth, the continent's vibrant core and primary source of innovation and renewal. President Tebboune reiterated Algeria's readiness to collaborate with African siblings and AU institutions to advance continental development goals and solidify integration, a cornerstone of a visionary Africa that is strong, united, prosperous, unified in a voice, and propelled by shared resolve toward a brighter future. President Paul Kagame stressed that to earn public trust, leaders must deliver measurable results. President Paul Kagame has said that people's trust in leaders is built on delivery, arguing that citizens must feel the impact of decisions in their everyday lives. The head of state added that leaders cannot rely on promises if those promises are not backed by concrete results that people can evaluate. Kagame was speaking at the 90th Future Investment Initiative in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, in a high-level panel discussion titled "Is Humanity Heading in the Right Direction?", which explored the global trajectory of progress and shared prosperity. The single most important, even though there are many aspects to leadership, the first is delivery. He said, as leaders, you know what the people expect, need, and you have to work out ways to make sure that delivery is made to the expectations of the people, he emphasized. President Kagame observed that when leaders' statements and citizens' lived experiences do not align, trust will not emerge. He maintained that accountability starts with matching words and actions. Trust can be created by making sure what you have is delivered, measurable, he added. Sharing Rwanda's post-genocide recovery as an example, Kagame said that a mindset of self-belief and responsibility has driven the country's progress over the past 3 decades. President Emerson Mnangagwa said that the agriculture sector is the foundation of Zimbabwe's projected economic growth. President Emerson Mnangagwa has announced that Zimbabwe's economy is expected to grow by 6.6% in 2025, driven largely by strong performance in the agriculture sector and expanded infrastructure development. Speaking at the official opening of the third session of the 10th Parliament, Mnangagwa highlighted key achievements across agriculture, mining, tourism and infrastructure, positioning them as pillars of the country's economic recovery. The national economy is projected to grow by 6.6% in 2025, anchored on the recovery in the agricultural sector with record harvest of tobacco, maize, wheat, and other crops, he said. He noted that irrigated farmland has increased from 151,000 hectares in 2019 to 221,000 hectares in 2024, with a target of 496,000 hectares in sight. These efforts, he added, are enhancing climate resilience and sustainability. In the mining sector, the president emphasized the government's commitment to responsible investment and environmental protection. He said the Mines and Minerals Amendment Bill, now gazetted, will be finalized during the current parliamentary session. We are committed to weeding out responsible mining stakeholders who cause pollution and infrastructure damage, Mnangagwa stated. Turning to tourism, Mnangagwa celebrated Zimbabwe's growing international profile, citing a recent accolade from Forbes magazine naming the country the best must-visit destination in the world. He urged lawmakers to fast-track the Tourism Amendment Bill to support continued growth in the sector. Infrastructure also remains a top priority, with the president reaffirming the government's focus on completing key road projects. He further reported a significant boost in Zimbabwe's foreign currency inflows, which reached $10.4 billion by August 2025, a 26.8% increase from $8.3 billion recorded during the same period last year. The Minister of Livestock Development, Alhaji Idi Maiha, said developing Nigeria's livestock industry is a top priority. The Minister of Livestock Development, Alhaji Idi Maiha, said Nigeria is prioritizing the issue of food security and global competitiveness, as well as transforming the country's livestock industry. Speaking at the 2025 Animal Science Meeting and Industry Exposition in Abuja, the minister said that transforming the sector in Nigeria would have positive impact across Africa and beyond. Maiha said that to achieve the desired sector development and global competitiveness, the country must first transform its animal breeds while preserving their genetic heritage. The minister said that although challenges persist, Nigeria's livestock industry has the potential to compete globally through collaborations, partnership, and looking inward for creative solutions. He also noted that Nigeria's livestock sector, in spite of being considered a national asset valued at about 30 trillion naira, contributes less than 3% to the national GDP. He therefore challenged animal scientists and other stakeholders in the sector to use the opportunity to ask tough questions and come up with the right answer. Experts highlight research and innovation as the cornerstones for boosting Africa's agricultural productivity. Experts have reaffirmed that research, science, and innovation remain central to transforming Africa's agriculture and ensuring sustainable food security. Dr. Mahama Odurago, former director of the Department of Education, Science and Technology and Innovation at the African Union, emphasized that agriculture is vital for Africa's economic growth, contributing significantly to national GDPs and serving as a key driver of poverty reduction. He noted that improving productivity requires a strong focus on science, technology, and innovation to develop better seed varieties, enhance soil fertility, improve fertilizer and pesticide use, and strengthen water management systems. Dr. Odurago stressed that adopting modern technologies and evidence-based approaches is the most effective way to ensure Africa's agricultural systems becomes more resilient and productive.
Science, technology, and innovation are the key. It's the best approach to ensure that we can have all the technology required for agricultural productivity. And we require science and technology and innovation to ensure that we have really the best technology to assure that agricultural productivity we need for Africa.
Supporting this view, Professor Abdullahi Abbas Yakubu, director of the Center for Agriculture and Pastoral Research at Usmanu Danfodio University in Nigeria, highlighted that research must be continuous and adaptive. It's only through sustained research that Africa can unlock its agricultural potential, discover new opportunities, and achieve optimal productivity, he said.
Research will help agricultural security, particularly in Africa, very well. As far as Africa is concerned, there are a lot of potentials. It is only through research that we will be able to harness these potentials that we have.
Both experts called for greater investment in innovation ecosystem to drive Africa's agricultural transformation and food sovereignty. Kenya and Uganda eye 1.4 million African tourists through joint marketing. Kenya and Uganda have set an ambitious target to attract at least 1.4 million African tourists through joint marketing, innovation, and multi-destination tourism products. The two countries unveiled the plan during the 4th Uganda-Kenyan Coast Tourism Conference and exhibition held in Malindi, Kenya. Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Maeno said the two nations are keen on boosting regional tourism through collaboration and sustainable investment. We are committed to championing the envisioned growth of our tourism by streamlining processes, providing attractive incentives, and putting in place clear policies to welcome investment in eco-friendly ventures, marine tourism, and community-based projects, said Mrs. Miano. This year's conference, themed Leveraging on Youth, Innovation and Technology for Responsive and Inclusive Tourism, focused on enhancing cross-border partnership and promoting East Africa as a unified travel destination. Ms. Miano noted that Uganda remains one of Kenya's key source markets, with more than 225,000 Ugandan visitors recorded last year, accounting for 9.4% of total international arrivals. Uganda's Consul General in Mombasa, Ambassador Paul Mukumbya, said Uganda and Kenya could easily complement each other by marketing their unique attractions jointly so that international tourists can visit the two countries on the same itinerary. The collaboration builds on the Memorandum of Understanding signed in July 2025 between President William Ruto and Yoweri Museveni, which provides a framework for joint marketing, policy development, and tourism infrastructure investment.
They shaped history. They inspired generations. They are the notables. Join us as we honor Africa's greatest minds and trailblazers, the notables, celebrating Africa's icons.
Now to business news. The governor of the Bank of Ghana maintained that Ghana's economic gains are not accidents but the result of hard and principled decisions. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pundit Asamoah, has stated Ghana's recent economic progress is not by chance but the result of hard, sometimes unpopular, but principled decisions taken by government and the central bank to restore stability and confidence in the economy. Dr. Asamoah said Ghana's economic recovery demonstrates the country's resilience and commitment to responsible fiscal and monetary management. He called for the difficult period in 2022 when the cedi depreciated by more than 50%, becoming the world's worst performing currency according to Bloomberg, while inflation rose above 54% and food inflation hit nearly 60%. Those were not just numbers. They represented real hardship that affected every Ghanaian household and business, he noted. Dr. Asamoah explained that the situation has since improved significantly due to strong policy coordination under the leadership of President John Dramani Mahama and the Vice President. He added that Ghana's international reserves now stands at about $12 billion, providing a solid cushion against external shocks and boosting investor confidence in the economy. These gains did not happen by accident. They are the outcome of tough but necessary decisions: fiscal consolidation by government, tight monetary policy by the Bank of Ghana, and renewed confidence from investors and the public, he emphasized. The governor said the Bank of Ghana remained dedicated to ensuring price stability, preserving financial system resilience, and supporting long-term inclusive growth. Finally, Ethiopia projects double-digit growth amid homegrown reform success. Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said the Ethiopian economy is on track to register a double-digit growth rate during the current Ethiopian fiscal year. Addressing questions raised by members of the House of People's Representatives, he said the optimistic forecast follows the past impressively successful year when major policy commitments were successfully executed. According to the Premier, Ethiopia's overall growth trajectory is among the 4 or 5 globally fast-growing economies. The foundation of this project growth is the comprehensive homegrown economic reform agenda that fundamentally shifts the nation's economic resilience away from a purely agriculture-led model. The administration recognized that singular sectoral dependence could not help achieve the required pace of poverty reduction. Consequently, the homegrown reform strategy emphasizes a diversified multi-sectoral approach, integrating agriculture, industry, mining, tourism, and technology, supported by a partnership between the government, the private sector, and civil society, the PM elaborated. Despite strategic shift, he said that the agriculture sector grew by a robust 7.3% in the last fiscal year, contributing to 2.3% to the overall GDP growth. The homegrown reform strategy emphasizes a diversified multi-sectoral approach, integrating agriculture, industry, mining, tourism, and technology, supported by partnership between the government, the private sector, and civil society, the Prime Minister elaborated. Despite the strategic shift, he said the agriculture sector grew by a robust 7.3% in last fiscal year, contributing to 2.3% to the overall GDP growth. The industry sector expanded by 30%, contributing 3.7% to GDP growth, reflecting an ongoing structural transform from construction dominance toward manufacturing and mining. The mining sector in particular registered substantial progress, boosting its contribution to GDP growth from 0.1% to 1%, he said. The services sector maintained strong growth at 7.5%, contributing 3.1% to the overall growth. Abiy noted that the reform has produced notable improvement in fiscal strength and foreign exchange generation. Let's take a look at the current forecast and what conditions to expect across the region. That's all from Pulse of Africa News for the hour. Thank you for joining us and stay tuned for more updates from Africa.